Hello, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Today I'm going to showcase a 1999 Sportsmobile. Sportsmobile is a manufacturer of building campers since 1961. They started with the pop-top Volkswagen camper vans, and today have a large arrangement of different styles. Back in 1999, they had 3 locations, Indiana, Texas, and California. But this is a Dodge. This is a short Dodge, and this is 17 foot 7 inches long, so you can use it as a daily driver. You could parallel park downtown, but its unique feature is it's equipped with the Penthouse top. That's what made them famous. This top pops straight up and gives you a lot of headroom when you're inside. There are other configurations that they offered back then on the Ford and Chevy chassis, and different tops you could get. You get fiberglass cruiser top and really high top full camper van. This is nice for a good weekend getaway. If you want to just jump in the van, load up some gear. This has 5 seat belts and sleeps up to 4 people. Let's go check it out. So it has 2 doors that open instead of a big sliding door. So it really gives you a lot of accessibility and allows for additional storage. This flips down here and you have a storage pocket in the door. This happens to have a first aid kit in it. And for privacy, it has a day shade here, and up top it has a night shade. On this side, it has a storage pocket below here, and a little shelf here. So if you're doing some outside activities, you could rest some food up here, set up your table outside. And then on this side, it has the same day-night shade system. And then windows that pop out. So these windows here give you plenty of ventilation, but there is no insect screens on them. Big running board here to get inside. And then when you get inside, they have carpeting from front to back. And then you do have to duck quite a bit to walk around. So let's open this space up a little bit. If you look up front here, there's some levers here that clamp the top down. All right, so we're going to pull them and now release the front area. And we come all the way in the back. There's one all the way back here. Now the top is released. And now I can push on the top, and you got to have a door open because there's such a rush of air that rushes in. If you don't have a door open, it's not going to open properly. This gives you a tremendous amount of space inside so you can stand up. Now that you have all that additional headroom to move around, if you wanted to then utilize the bed, there's 2 little tethers here. You undo them, drop the bed down. It's hard bottom, it's got a cushion up top. And then you basically climb up. There's a handle up top you could grab onto. Get up in the bed. I'm 5'9", so I got plenty of room. If I go all the way to the end, I got room to lay down. And while you're up here, there's screens on board. So for ventilation, you can unzip your screen. You can roll these down. And then for privacy, you can roll this down. So if you really want to darken it, there's privacy all the way around. And then up here, there's a light so you can illuminate this area at night. And then there's also a zip down front screen as well. So you got screens all the way around up here. And plenty of room. I mean, if I want to, put socks on or do something, I'm not really confined to a small space. There's plenty of room to move around. It's like a tent on wheels. So you got that upper area that really connects you to nature, but then you also have, if you want to do some stealth camping, you have a bed below, which we're going to show you in a moment. Let me just get this bed out of the way. All right, in the kitchen galley area, there is a refrigerator that runs on 12 volt. So let's open this up. There's a little freezer portion up here. And then to turn on the fridge, you just spin it 1 through, you got all the way up to 5. Now it runs on 12 volt. There is a single 12 volt battery on board. It's a Group 24 series lead acid. And then, you could add solar aftermarket, and you could do different battery configurations if you need more battery energy. There's a kitchen drawer here. This cabinet here is prepped for a porta potty. So if you wanted to buy a porta potty, it would slide in here, and then you could strap it in with a bungee cord to prevent it from moving while you're driving. And then in this cabinet here, there's lots of storage. They're full extensions, so you could put a lot of stuff in here, and you don't have to worry about reaching all the way to the back. Over here, we have a light that illuminates this area, and then there's lots of lights in this cab area, which leads me to the seat, which swivels all the way around. So once you get the seat belt out of the way, you can swivel this chair. So you could have, you know, a group of people in here, and then behind the driver's seat, there's a table. And what's cool about this table, and the reason why it's wrapped up in a towel is this keeps the noise down when you're driving from the table right over there. You can put this table outside, you can put it inside, and you really could position it wherever you need it. So, really, really useful. Behind the driver's seat, there's a fire extinguisher. And then in the cab area, it's got they upgraded the stereo to a CD player with Bluetooth. And then it went with USB charging here. But there's extra storage up top here in the cab area. So, I mean, Sportsmobile did a great job adding storage wherever they could. I mean, look at this. This is another storage compartment. It's small, but you can imagine you can put a lot of stuff in there. Fluorescent lighting here in the kitchen. I found all the owner's manuals. I went through it, and there's a tremendous amount of floor plans they offered back then on the short and extended model. So you had a lot of options. This was their most popular because this is an adapted floor plan from the Volkswagens they did back then. And then over here is the gas cooktop. So this has a built-in propane tank underneath the van, and it's plumbed right to this cooktop, and there's a gas-fired furnace on board. But you'd manually light these burners. Another day-night shade back here, a slider window here as well, and then a storage pocket up top, another light, a little hook here so you can hang something. The stereo, the regular cab stereo, you could switch it whether you want the radio to run off the van battery or the extra battery. So that's if you're camping, if you want to use that cab area stereo and you don't want to run your engine battery down while you're camping, you could switch it to run off your back battery. For running water, there is a water pump. There's a demand water pump underneath the back sofa, as well as a fresh water tank. When you turn the pump on, the pump will pressurize the system and then stop. And then once it feels a drop in pressure, the pump will kick on. Even though it has hot and cold handles here, this van does not have a water heater, but would have been an option back then. Soap dispenser here off to the side. And then over here is the controls for the heat and air conditioning. Yes, this does have air conditioning. Heat runs off a gas-fired propane furnace, so you just turn it to heat over here and you change your temperature. When you're on air conditioning, you'd have to be plugged into a campground shore power, and you put it to cool, and then you bring that lever over here. These vents right here are for the air conditioning itself, and this is the fan speed for that, so you can change the fan speed. The furnace only has a single speed. There's an electrical outlet here and several electrical outlets throughout. Those would only work when you're plugged into shore power because this does not have an inverter, but you could add one aftermarket. This cabinet opens here and it has access for additional storage. Right now there's some RV antifreeze in here. And this little flap, if you had a trash pail in there, allows you to put the trash in without opening the cabinet. Over here there's a cable connection, so there's a cable inlet on the outside, and if you had a television you could plug it into the cable here. And then there is a battery monitor here with USB charge ports. This is just something aftermarket. You plug into any 12-volt socket, and then that will allow you to monitor how much battery energy you have. Down here on the floor there's a propane leak detector, so this will detect a gas leak on board. This flips open right here, and this gives you access to get to the water pump and the freshwater tank and all the low point drains. If I lift up on the front of the sofa, you get a better view. This is part of the air conditioning unit, freshwater tank, water pump here, a lot of fuses and breakers here, and then furnace ducts underneath here. And then over here to the side there's an electrical outlet. Now this is a good opportunity to pull down the bed. As you can see, there's lap belts here, and there's a 3-point shoulder harness there. So you could put 3 people across the back, and potentially a car seat back here. To bring the bed down, let me just move the back board out of the way. This is more of a double bed, so the bed up top is a little bit longer, but there's plenty of room. I'm 5'9". There's enough room for me to crash for the night or take a nap for the day. There's a carbon monoxide detector here on the wall. There's another light on board here. These are all 12-volt lights. And then there's a fan. So that is some ventilation when you're out there. You can turn the fan on. You could also oscillate it. So there's a little lever here that allows you to oscillate it. And then the windows, these crank open here. So you got that window here with the screen. The side windows didn't have the screens, this one does. And then back here, this window opens too. It has a day-night shade, but no screen. And then up top here, there's 2 lights. And then there's a big pocket up here, storage pocket. There's a pocket here, so there's oil and some maintenance items in this pocket. These are the bed pillows that would have came with it back then. On this side, there's a slide-out pantry here, so you can store your kitchen pantry goods. And then there's a wardrobe. So this wardrobe happens to have the privacy curtain. So around the whole front cab area, you could snap in this curtain, and that gives you privacy up front. There's shelves in this cabinet, and they're lined to keep the noise down. And then the floor lifts up, and then there's another storage well here. So this is where people might hide valuables in this motorhome, because if you put your clothes and everything in there, it's going to be hard to see that the floor lifts up. This one in the back slides, and there's a wardrobe hanger here, and it allows you to hang your shirts. And then the floor lifts up, we'll see that when we get to the back, and the battery system's back there. When you're done sleeping for today, you just lift up on the front of the sofa, push it in place, and there you go. You could cook your food while you're still sitting down. Let's take a walk around the back. There's some really cool things to show you. Actually, before we get there, underneath here is where you empty the gray tank. So the gray tank on this particular motorhome would just be your sink waste. So there's a tank underneath right here, and then there's a wastegate here. And you can hook up a garden hose to this fitting and empty it into a campground's dump station or a portable container, and then you can dump it properly. So this opens its blade valve, and that allows that tank to discharge. Over here is the furnace exhaust. When you have the furnace on, this is where the excess heat and exhaust comes out, and it has a mud dauber screen on it, so insects cannot get inside. What's really cool about this van is this big, large door that opens. And this van is what they call B2500. That's a 3/4 ton van chassis. They make a 1-ton van chassis, which gives you a higher payload capacity, so you can put more stuff inside. But this door opens all the way up, so you can imagine just sitting here, you know, watching the sunset. You got this whole back area here, which I really like. But there's a pocket here in the door, and before they had backup cameras, they'd put these on the back windows so you get a wide-angle view of what's behind you. So it really helps when you're backing up. This lifts up here, and it gains you access to storage. You could keep this out, and then you could store larger items in it in certain trips. Back here is where the furnace is. There's a 30-amp shore power cord. There's all the tools to remove the tire and jack up the van. There's a storage light here, trunk light. And then there's a fresh water hose. So this has a city water connection on the outside, so you can hook directly into the campground's water pressure, or you could use this same hose to fill up your fresh water tank. And then back here, put this down. If you look in here, this floor comes up, and that gains you access to get to the battery system. So if you had to check the water level in the battery or replace the battery, you could get in it through this floor here. So, you know, they were very mindful in making this in such a way that you could get to everything, and they really thought this through pretty well. All right, back over here, we got a hitch receiver, so I believe you could tow up to 5,000 pounds on this model. And you know, for a 1999 being stored outdoors its whole entire life, I mean, the paint's in really good condition. I couldn't find any rust underneath it. Over here is a vent for the battery, so the battery has to be vented outside, so the battery box is sealed, and it has a vent here that allows any gases to escape. Down here is the city water connection. So when you go to a campground, you want to hook right up to their city water connection. You could do it right here. And this happens to have a water pressure regulator built into it. So if the campground's water pressure was too high, it would protect your plumbing on board, which all the plumbing happens to be PEX tubing. Remember inside we talked about the cable. This is the cable inlet, so you could go to campground and hook right up to what they call park cable, and then that will allow you to have television reception inside if you brought a TV along. That's old school. A lot of people do portable electronics now. This is your 30 amp power cord connection. It's a Marine Co cord, and it's a twist lock, and that will give you shore power that will charge your battery because there's an onboard battery charger inside. This is the vent for the kitchen galley sink. So when the water drains, this allows the tank to vent. Normally they would put them through the roof, but because this has the Penthouse top, it's vented through the side. This is where you fill your fuel. That'll be gas. This is a gas 5.2 liter V8 engine. And then over here is the propane fill. So it's got a big propane tank on board, and the cap will come off and they'll allow the technician to fill the tank. There's a gauge outside, and you can turn the tank on and off from here as well. In the cab area, there's plenty of room to head in and out on these old Dodge vans. There is an engine hump that kicks in if everybody's familiar with vans. And then we pop the hood. When you drive this van, the alternator charges your rear battery. But if you're camping and you're using a lot of items there, there's an isolator that will prevent the back area from draining your engine battery. So that way, when you're done camping, you can start the engine and leave and go home. But I hope you enjoyed this video. This 1999 Sportsmobile is a true gem. I'm happy to be able to feature it on the channel today. Well, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, comment, share, and subscribe. I love it, and we'll see you soon.